This week we're stepping away from the behemoths and focusing on a local seasonal attraction called Legends of the Fog. We'll be talking about our experience going through their haunt, and we also have an interview with one of the owners. Hello, park goers, and welcome to Park Goers Go, your go-to podcast for all things theme parks and spooky. I think it's just a little longer that we have to do the spooky opening. Yeah.
You didn't do a voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome, park goers.
It's obligatory. We have to.
I guess it is.
Now that we're starting it too, we're gonna have to every year. We're gonna have to do it.
We're gonna have to walk on the accents.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with new ones.
Yeah, each episode for that season, we have to think of a new accent. Oh, I'm trying to think. Besides Dracula, what's another scary voice?
It's one.
Can you do a zombie voice?
Yeah, I mean, we did go to that one a lot.
A zombie voice?
Brains and theme parks.
We can do like a snake. Welcome to. Oh, that one's not bad.
Welcome.
Oh, there we go. Welcome, foolish mortals. It's like the same thing every time.
Anyways, I'm one of your hosts, Dustin.
I'm Logan. And I'm your other host, Nate.
And in this episode, we're going to take our focus away from the big theme parks and focus more on themed attractions, local themed attractions. And today we are going to be talking about a local haunt in Maryland called Legends of the Fog. Ooh. Yeah, we were able to go and have a great time. And we also were able, or I was also able to speak with one of the owners of Legends. So we'll have that interview at the end of the episode. But yeah, you guys excited?
Yeah, we're excited.
I had a great time.
Full disclosure, I am currently working with Legends of the Fog and have worked with them in the past. And they are a great organization, and it's been a lot of fun. So let's chat about it. Legends of the Fog is in the Bel Air, Aberdeen, Churchville area of Maryland, and it has 4 attractions: the Haunted Hayride, Cornstalkers, which is a corn maze, a spooky corn maze. They have 2 walkthroughs, one called the Farewell Hotel, and the other one called the Slaughterhouse. And so yeah, let's just cut right to it. We spent some of our time in the midway, not too much.
I feel like we need to say what a midway is.
Yes. Okay, let's do that. So a midway is basically that area that you walk into when you're at a carnival that doesn't necessarily have rides. It's more focused on food and games. So that's the midway. A lot of these haunted attractions have midways. So there you go.
So now that we got that wrapped up.
The midway's really fun and really nice. They got music playing. They have this giant clock tower that I don't know how often it went off, but maybe like every 15 minutes, a scary cuckoo would pop out of it.
Scary cuckoo?
Yeah, cuckoo clock.
The cuckoo.
I get. Okay, yeah. I was like, it's definitely like a ghost zombie thing.
No, it's like it's a skeleton bird. Yeah,
really good music. They have good music.
Yeah. I guess the big things here is that they had games, food and drinks, and also roaming characters.
And they had some photo ops with those characters. And then they also had some merch.
And they had those little like scale attractions that you can pay for.
Oh yeah, they do have at least one opportunity where you can pay money and look at a monitor, and somewhere in the park where there's a lot of people walking in a line, and when you pay money and press the button, then it would scare those people in line. I think it's a gust of wind in one of them.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, no, so that's cute.
And they also have plenty of potties, and there's something really cool with them, but I don't think we should say it.
It's a fun place to hang out. They have some picnic tables. Like I said, they have food trucks there. So it's a overall good time to just chill and hang out.
And a really cool bonfire.
Yeah, and a really cool bonfire too. Yeah.
It's very refreshing.
Huge.
Yeah. And when you walk in to the right, you'll see a big sign that says Haunted Hayride. And then on the left side, you'll see a big sign that says Farewell Hotel and Slaughterhouse. And the way that it works at Legends is that you can either purchase a haunted hayride ticket by itself, or you can get the package, which then includes Farewell Hotel, the Cornstalkers, and Slaughterhouse. But when you purchase it, you have to do it in that order. So you start off with the hayride on the right side, and then you make your way to the other line, and then it's basically back to back after that. If you choose to skip one after the Farewell Hotel, they do have like little routes that help you, bypass them. But otherwise, it's pretty much a straight line. So like if you're afraid of corn, then you can bypass the Cornstalkers and then go to the Slaughterhouse. If you did the last two and you're like, I'm done for the night because the Slaughterhouse is the most intense, then you could bypass that one too. And nobody will be any the wiser, except for the people you went with, I guess.
Chicken exits. That's what they'll call it.
That's what they call them there? Or that's what they
no,
call
that's
them
what they
in
call
general?
it. Like when you go on like rides and stuff, like the last, if you don't get on, it's like
I think that's what you and your mean
that's
friends
what I call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start off with the haunted hayride.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey now.
This is what
I thought we were doing a
dreams
music
are
thing.
made of.
Like,
Is
hey
that what you're
now,
saying?
you're a rock star.
Oh.
Put your name on. That's what I thought it was.
I
and
thought
he's
you were
like,
singing the Hillary Duff song.
Hey.
So the hayride has 10 show scenes. Count them, 10.
It was a lot. 1,
1, 2,
2,
3, 4,
6,
10.
No, 5. You missed
6,
5, 6,
7,
7, 8.
9.
I used
10.
both of my hands to count that.
I didn't because I don't have to.
Well, there's an overall story. There's a story to it.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is, because he explains it in the beginning. He talks about the mist, the fog, and it like,
Okay,
blah, blah,
let's
and
talk
then
about
there's,
that then.
Oh, yeah, I
and then
guess
there's like
so.
experiments and stuff.
Yeah, so the first show scene you enter into is very pumpkin-esque, and you get explained the story of the fog, which Nate will explain.
You mean the legend of the fog?
The legend of the fog. So from what I gathered from the Pumpkin Man was that there was a mysterious fog that has entered, kind of like the mist in the movie.
The Mist?
Yeah, in that movie. And that the fog, I'm guessing, has done some strange things to the civilians, I would say. But then there was also an underlying plot that has to do with experimentation, which I guess is related to the fog.
I think it's kind of like almost like a portal.
I think it is like the mist.
Well, I think it's just these things were just appearing. Like, I don't think it like changed people. I
No,
think
no,
it's
no,
just
but
different
there was an
sets.
experiment. There was an
Well,
experiment.
yeah, there's experiment portion. Yeah, there's a scientist, like a mad scientist. But
Anyway, it's spooky.
yeah, but I think it's also important to say, like, for visualization from the audience, there's a tractor that's pulling a very, very long, like, bed of
hay.
and then you all, like, get settled in, you sit down, you sit on either side, and you're facing the other people. And then while you're driving, you go into these, well, this one that Nathaniel just described was just, like, kind of you just park in front of these trees that has hanging, like, pumpkins, and pumpkins are all over the place, and this big animatronic is like swaying back and forth and explaining to you the story. And then once that's done, you progress over to the next one, and most of them are like a shed that had like open on both sides kind of shed, and then you go in, and then that's when each show will essentially start.
Right.
There you go. The setup is very similar to your typical haunted hayrides. Now, let's talk about our top show scenes. What would you guys say was like your top 2? You want me to go first?
Yes.
All right. I think the junkyard is all like at the top of mine. So basically you go through piles and stacks of cars. It's kind of like, think of almost post-apocalyptic Mad Max kind of vibe to it. Of course, you're in the middle of the woods, so it's not like sandy, but
Can you imagine? That'd be crazy if they just dump sand like all over.
that
to
would
make
be
it-
crazy.
That'd be wild.
But you go through it, and then car horns go off. The scare actors hop on the wagon, and normally what they talk about is, cannibalistic kind of thing.
I'm gonna eat ya.
Or, oh, you look good, or something like that.
And I'm
to
like, oh
eat.
my god,
you.
stop.
But they also have a lot of pyrotechnics in this part, which is really cool.
It is a really, really good scene. But also, like, these are full scale, like, actual vehicles that they're using, which is pretty impressive and really, really cool.
And they play with the lighting too, with the headlights and everything. I thought that was creative.
So that one is typically one of my bigger, more, at the top of my list when it comes to favorite show scenes at Legends. Now, one thing that's new this year that I really liked and that surprised me is at one point you drive through a ship that is landlocked, and that's pretty crazy. It's the entrance to a bayou set where it's kind of swampy, and you drive right through the ship, and then it's all this swampland. They even have water cannons shooting up too.
Yeah, and it looks like
Oh,
misty.
yes. That is one of my favorite parts, with the barrels of water and everything. Yeah, that was really impressive.
I didn't know what you guys were talking about for a second, but I don't remember. It was really cool.
I was very impressed with the scale of like animatronics and effects at this for being a local haunt. Sometimes they're bigger than like some of the parks would do.
Yeah. And I know at one point you go into this one building and it's like a sawmill, and then a saw comes right in the middle of the hayride, and it looks like it's gonna cut you. And it comes down pretty low.
That was really cool. That was gonna be my favorite scene. Was the sawmill one.
My two faves were, one, I didn't think at the first I didn't like it. It was the mad scientist one, like where you go in and there's like the mad scientist is like pacing back and forth. There are these two really big like egg looking things, and then it's like he tries to hatch them first, because then he's like, you're gonna like witness my whatever, and then it's like all the lights are like flashing, there's smoke coming around the eggs, and then it doesn't hatch. And then he's like, well, here are my monsters. And then the lights go out, and then they like come back, like couple of them come back, and there's like bug looking people and stuff like coming around.
I'm gonna say you should have written the script for that.
And then there's like bug people, but then there's these really big bugs that will like come out of these different little areas that they're at. But they had this really cool one that looked like a praying mantis. Like its head was massive, and it comes out and it just looks so good.
It lunges.
Yeah, lunges like back and forth. And that one was really impressive to me. And the other one that I really liked was the backwood hillbillies that are they're like, hey, like, what are you doing in these parts, like, kind of thing, and they're all like coming at you. Yeah, I don't really remember what they were saying, but then they're like, sure, like Chewy, like, let's get Chewy out here or something.
Bubba?
And then this huge I'm guessing it was animatronic, like bear animatronic that comes out of this like a log cabin kind of like facade. And then he comes out and like he actually stays out for a pretty long time, and it's like this intense strobe light, so it looks really, really good.
Well, when you pull up, the scene looks like on one side you have the rocking chair and the scare actors, and then on the other side it looks like somebody killed a bear and mounted its head on a wall.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I just saw the guy.
Yeah.
Like there was another scare actor there, but I didn't even see the bear.
Yeah. So then when the wall kind of falls away at one point, yeah. That one's a cool one. I like that one too, especially with just the size of the bear.
Well, I mean, I already said that the I think the swamp scene and the sawmill were my two favorites. But what I did like about the hayride is that the bed where you sit is pretty wide, so it gives actors the opportunity to like literally jump onto it and kind of like run down or crawl down and scare everyone until they eventually like jump off. But that was pretty unique.
Right.
I've never been on one that's like that.
Yeah, and because they have everybody sitting on the sides, sometimes the actors will come run up on the wagon and interact with people that way, which is fun and kind of spooky, especially if you don't want them right in your face.
Yeah, I was kind of shook when they would come down the middle aisle, like jump up, and then like there's one guy that like would run and slide down the middle aisle, and they get pretty close to you.
So after you're done the hayride, you then exit back out into the midway where you could get in line for the Farewell Hotel. Now, Farewell Hotel, right off the bat, you enter into the queue, and right away you are met with this giant facade of this old decrepit hotel, which I think is really cool. And you have this sign of just flickering light for the hotel, and it's just, the visual's awesome.
There's a scare actor in the queue too.
There is, yeah. And I'm not going to tell you what he does, but he he does something scary, and it'd be like, surprise.
You just said it. You said what he says.
He goes, surprise. And he's like, I got you. Now let's talk about, without going step by step, let's talk about our favorite things in the hotel.
I have 2.
I have one that pops to the top of my mind immediately.
Is it near the beginning?
Yes. Well, they're both near the beginning for me.
Actually, I think both of mine are the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the entrance right when you enter.
The lobby.
Oh, the
lobby.
check-in desk?
The lobby
Yeah.
is so cool.
It's very well themed and set up. Like there was so much, you can tell there was so much poured into that. And there's literally an upstairs.
Really good false perspective.
And then the second, which is immediately after, you just walk down the hallway, then you go into, or like the elevator door open, and there's like a bellhop in there, and then the door's shut. It's, there's some really cool things that happen. I'm not going to tell you. It's actually really, really, really awesome.
I was shook.
Yeah, Dustin was shook. It was really cool. Very unexpected. A great execution. And every room that you went into was very, very well decorated. And like, it was one of the best, most well executed houses outside of our typical like Universal. Like,
I mean, sometimes it's better. I think it's better than some Universal hotels, personally.
hotels.
Some of the Universal houses we've been into in the past.
One of my favorite things about the hotel is that, like, you look at these other walkthroughs, typically there's either a story to it that follows you through, or it's kind of a mix match. Yeah, it's kind of a mix match of just different ideas that kind of don't really flow together. But what I love about the Farewell Hotel is that it's kind of like a Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's all atmosphere. There are scare actors in there that add to the theme and all that stuff, but there isn't a through story, but you understand everything, and you feel like you're just walking through a hotel and going through different rooms and areas. Personally, one of my favorite scenes is, I mean, besides just all the hallways going through it,
Love a good hallway.
yeah. Well, they do have a pub, which I think is incredible. And you basically turn around this corner, you see the pub door, you open it up, and just the decoration in there. There's a bar, there's a fireplace, there's a piano, there's some tables, and it feels like you're in this bar, but it feels like a dead end. But then something opens up, and then you're like, oh my gosh, and then you continue walking through. There's also, you go down to the boiler room at some point, and they have some fun effects there that are pretty scary. Yeah, no, overall, I just love the theming of it. I think every room is just, maxed out with quality, detail.
And we've been through a couple like local ones it's really just like horror clutter. It's like you're walking through like a
Spirit
someone's
Halloween.
garage.
Yeah, like a spirit, yeah, or like they bought everything from like all the different Spirit Halloweens or any other Halloween store and just shoved it in one room, and you have like a pinhole to walk through, and there's just things all around you, and you're walking through,
And
like
tripping.
a scare actor maybe like once every
Yep.
20 feet or something. Like, it's so long, and this one felt so professional in the way like its execution and how often you're scared. Like, there's a really good pacing, and it's not like, it's well decorated but not cluttered.
Right.
Like, you're able to distinctly like acknowledge what the room is that you're walking through, or
Right.
understand what the set is, understand even like there may not be like an actual story tied along with it, but you know where you are, which is not super common, I feel like, in some of these houses.
Yeah. So then after that, you then walk up to another facade, which looks like a barn house, and that is the Corn Stalkers, which is a corn maze. Now, the Corn Stalkers is your typical corn maze. It's at night. You walk around. Except for this one involves fog. It involves a ton of dead ends and, I guess full circles that'll lead you back.
Got
they
some
have
signs.
Yeah, they have some fun signs. Just walking through it, we didn't get too lost. But walking through it, there were so many people where you'd just see them walk up from another direction and be like, wait, we were just here. And I thought that was hysterical. They have scare actors throughout, but not only do they have scare actors, they also have like mannequins dressed up. So you can't tell if you're walking by a scare actor or not.
There was one that was right next to the sign. I did not know it was a scare actor. It scared the crap out of me. But then every time after that, there was only like one. I think we only passed like one or two more signs, and one of them there was another scare actor, and I was like, "Watch out!
Yeah,
he's real."
Yeah, the best scare I got, I think, was in the con maze because there was that one guy who was like crouching on the ground, literally
in the fog?
right in front of me, and I didn't see him until he stood up, and I was like,
and he didn't even say anything. He just stood up.
Yeah,
it was just like.
I was like, that's a good job, good camouflage though.
Another thing that Legends of Fog does very well in all three of their, walk around experiences is they set up their structures so that the same scare actor will scare you at one point, and then when you walk a little bit further, they'll then come around and then pop out again to scare you again. They do that a lot, and I think that's fantastic. It gets me every time, and it's also so fun to watch it happen to other people. But we ended up making it through alive, and not super quick. It still took us a while. Like if you do everything correct, then it still takes you a little bit to get through. Not super long, but if you get lost, then we could still be there.
Actually, still here.
Oh no, we're recording in the corn maze. But yeah, so the Corn Stalkers was great, and then the next thing after that is the slaughterhouse,
where they kill ya.
Now the slaughterhouse, I'm sure you could tell by the name, is
slaughtered.
themed to be
Pigs.
a slaughterhouse.
Cows, blood,
People.
So what's cool is that the queue for this one is almost like you're being herded in. They have those metal like fencing, like you would see cows being kept in or livestock. So that's fun. Going back and forth. It's just a normal switchback, but with that kind of theming. I will say this is the loudest of all of the attractions. It's also, I would say, the foggiest of all the attractions, and it's the most intense.
It's just the mostest.
It's the mostest.
The houstest with the mostest.
The mostest. Now, do you guys have any iconic scenes or show scenes that pop out for you?
There's this one scene. I don't know how you describe it, but it's like the strobe light scene.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a bunch of, like floor to ceiling chain link gates and stuff like that. Well, that scene was really cool because the group ahead of us, they have a lot of fun at Legends of Fog because they will direct you towards one way, and then in this particular scene, the guy like closed the gate behind the person in front of them, so that they were by themselves, and the rest of us had to go a completely different way, which is something they also did to me at the Con Maze.
They asked they said, who is the most scared out of your group? And we put it to Nathaniel. And then they were like, all right, well, you're going to be the leader. And then they like gestured for him to go, or they opened it. He went in, and then they stopped me. Like they put their arms out to stop me, and then they slammed the door shut. And then what happened?
And then I was in the, am I lonesome? A scare actor did come out and give me a fright. And then we had a nice conversation while we waited for them to open the doors again.
It was a minute.
It was enough for me. It was enough for me to ask him how his day is going, and he said good. So
in character, because he's a professional.
Yes.
What were we talking about?
So that that last scene. Yeah, no, they load up this one room. It's a pretty big area that, like you said, has a whole bunch of chain link fences. And
floor to ceiling.
Yeah, and it's so much fog, so many strobe lights, loud music, and
can't see nothing.
That is a really fun scene, especially for people who already went through the rest of it and were like, okay, I'm done. I just want to get out of here. It's like, here's the last hurrah. The first scene I think is really good with the hanging limbs of the cows going through the conveyor belt. And it's just nonstop, just scare after scare. And similar to the Farewell Hotel, it feels like you're walking through a slaughterhouse, even to the point where you see like the back dumpster and then you go to where they sell the meat. It's really it's great. It's all thought out. The freezer part was also cool too.
You felt like you worked there at a slaughterhouse.
Clocking
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, you're like you get to actually you kind of learn a lot.
Well,
Do
I
you
don't
even
think-
watch people get ground up and
Yeah,
everything?
I think
for
it's
all the
less
meat?
so much we work there and we're more like the cattle.
No, I feel like we are taking a tour.
You think it's like like
Yeah,
what are they
it's like a
called?
really scary
Factory
tour. Yeah, they're like, oh, you want to learn where this comes from, and then they're like, it's you.
yeah, but yeah, and then those are all the experiences. Now, overall, how do you guys like them? How do you feel after experiencing Legends of the Fog?
I feel reborn. No, it was it was really good. It was really cool. I like seeing things of that caliber in a local area. So you don't
Right.
have to like things that are like obviously have like a huge backing from like a massive corporation like executing things. But then there's even things that they did just at Legends that are so much cooler.
You know what's cool? I was looking at the website that they have a blackout weekend.
So after Halloween, so in the beginning of November, they have this thing called Blackout where you can experience the walkthroughs with the lights off. You just walk through them blinded. So that seems like it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm glad. I always love it when haunted attractions and places offer stuff after Halloween, even if it's like a week or two after, because you get the rush of Halloween and then Halloween comes and you're just like, I need more of an outlet to come down. And so that's always nice. So I was able to talk with the owner of Legends, Patrick, and we chat a little bit about what it's like to run an attraction and a little bit about what Legends of the Fog has to offer. So here it is. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am coming to you live from Legends of the Fog, Maryland's premier haunted attraction that's located in Churchville.
Aberdeen, Bel Air,
Aberdeen.
Churchville, it's all right in the middle.
And I am here with one of the co-owners of the haunt, Patrick Barberry. How are you doing, Patrick?
Great, how are you?
I'm doing great as well. Now, I would like to start off with a very basic question. What is Legends of the Fog?
So, Legends of the Fog is a haunted attraction in Aberdeen. It is on our family farm, Aldino Sod Farms. I am the third generation sod farmer, and my dad is the majority owner, and I'm the minority owner, but we basically started this business together with my wife, Robin, in 2007. And the original idea was to create something like really fun and interesting to do that was more exciting than watching grass grow. And we just wanted to do something creative. So we started a haunted hayride in 2007, and now it's blossomed into a big destination attraction in the state of Maryland. We have a hayride that's 20 minutes and almost a mile long, 3 walkthrough attractions that take about 35 to 40 minutes to get the rest of your way through, and each attraction has its own unique approach and direction and acting style so that you get 3 very different shows while you're here, and then you start and finish in our midway area that's always growing and always changing. And even today, we added some new things right in the middle of our season.
That is quite a bit to offer, and I would imagine a lot of responsibility. So tell me, what is the typical day for an owner of a haunt?
I'll speak a little bit to my dad at this point. My dad, Mike, he's at the point now where he's kind of checking in, and he's not so much the operator like I am, but he comes in, he just checks with all of the main managers, and then make sure that everything's going good, and he stays out in the midway to be like the greeter. And I can't wait until that day comes for me to where I can just go out and just be involved. But my day now is to the point where I check in with all of my managers. I check in with our crew. We have an amazing crew, and everybody kind of has their own locus of control, and everybody does their jobs. We don't need a lot of extra communication because really we just have a rhythm to what we do. So we do go over anything that broke yesterday, anything that needs to be resolved, any improvements, and then if everything's good, which so far this year everything's been amazing, we spend time planning next year. And there's no better time than the now to start thinking about the next season. Once we're open, my wife Robin is in charge of basically everybody who has a pulse, and then I'm in charge of kind of like the whole thing, but I just defer to her. So I really let my managers manage. I let our people do their job. and my job is to support them. So not only are they working for me, but I'm working for them, making sure that they have everything that they need, and I keep myself free so that whatever they need, whatever, if somebody's under duress, I can step in and just help. So that's the way that I kind of set myself up.
Now, how does that trickle down to the managers and the different attractions?
I would say as an organization, we are very top heavy, because I feel like when you have a control of one person who is in charge of more than 20 other people, you start to lose touch and lose control. So I try to keep this to like 15 staff to one manager. And sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. But what we do is we make sure that the span is enough to where if somebody's out, we don't have a crisis. We have a lot of coverage, we have a lot of overlap, but everybody still has their job. So for example, in the hayride, we have our main hayride manager who is really into the tech, and he builds in the off season. Our other hayride co-manager is also our main makeup artist. So in the beginning of the night, he steps in and he takes 80% of that load. She's taking 80% of the makeup load and overseeing that. So then once everybody's out of makeup, then she steps in, and those guys split up and kind of split the halves of the hayride. So kind of divide and conquer. We have 50 actors out in the hayride. Sometimes it could be as low as 40, but there's just a lot of things going on and a lot of moving parts. So it always takes 2 for our system to work, but these managers can hop into costume if they need to. They can be that break actor if they need to. But at the same time, nothing is ever left undone. And what's so important about that is to where even if there's an issue, one of them can go resolve that issue and the other can stay back and still keep their thumb on the house. So it just really works, and it's almost a little bit of redundancy for extra security and safety, knowing that everybody's going to be in good shape.
And it sounds like a lot of people are wearing many hats.
Yes.
When it comes to positions. If push comes to shove, would you put on some makeup and hop into one of the show scenes?
So I think it's already set up that tomorrow I'm going to pull a shift on our haunted elevator. It's my favorite thing about our show. It's not my original idea, but it's our original, concept and execution of it.
That's awesome. And that is one of the most impressive things that has been added within the past, 3 years?
Yeah.
And then you doubled it up too.
Yes.
So yeah. Now you did talk a little bit about how many actors are in different places. Now, I guess the industry term would be scare actors.
Yes.
So they're the actors who come in and, scare.
Yeah.
And they're huge parts of any haunt. How many scare actors would you say you have per season? And what is the process of finding them?
My wife, Robin, is really in charge of that whole locus of control, and I just advise. And she could tell you a lot more, but I believe that all total staff were doing, I just signed about 190 checks for our first payroll. I would say every year we have 10% fall off. So there were a whole lot of checks that went out that they only got paid for training, and then they quit. They realized it's not for them. So by the time it's done, we're suiting up about 130 to 140 a night in costume with another 30 to 40 support staff. It really adds up. I don't have that number exactly right now, but I know that our show is very full. All total, we put out a couple of feelers on Facebook and the internet. We do collect information all year on our website for people that are interested in acting, and we just start pinging them, and we do Zoom interviews. We meet with a lot of these people. We try to push their buttons to make sure that they can handle certain situations the way that we want them handled. So we're looking into all of those things, but we really want people kind of to be our type, and by our type we want people that are humble, but that are ready for new experiences and ready to really react to whatever we throw at them. This year we had 300 applicants to fill 180 roles, which is insane.
That is crazy. But I know in the past you guys used to be volunteer-based, and then you made the switch over to paying your actors.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that process and how you guys came to make that decision?
It was really tough. When we first started the haunt, we kind of had a business for profit, business for charity model, and we partnered with several local 501c, and they were providing volunteers. We were providing the playground, so to speak, and the kind of a paid staff. And, we did have some paid positions that were in key roles, but All the actors were volunteer. And it worked for a while, but what we found was we were not able to have the reliability, we weren't able to have the accountability, people were leaving early, and we just weren't able to fulfill what we saw as our dream that we worked for all year. And then on a voluntary basis, we only had some diehards, but we had a lot of people that fit Legends around their schedule. So when COVID started, we did a drive-through attraction, which is a whole nother interview, and it was such an amazing experience. It was like becoming an entrepreneur all over again, and it was amazing. But we got halfway through the season, and people were tired, and we were sold out. We got a call, and they're like, hey, here's the Baltimore Sun. We're going to put you on the cover. Here's all the Baltimore news stations. Here's news stations from the East Coast, and then the Today Show called. And then they were all coming to do these interviews and these pieces, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way that I can sit here and say that we can continue with this volunteer model. I said, we're just going to start paying people right now. From then, it was just like the whole hunt stepped up another level, and it's a lot. But I think that people are getting more value for their money than they ever have. And I think that our show is so consistent. So now we have a commitment to our staff to pay them. We have tons of bonuses and incentives, and they know that we're going to take care of them. But also our customers now know that they're going to be taken care of.
So this change was a positive change.
100%.
Now, throughout the whole life of Legends, I'm sure there have been some growing pains.
Yeah.
Are there any that stick out? Like, I would imagine that the drive-through had its, positive and negatives, but are there any other ones that you could speak on?
Yeah, I would say drive-through, completely energized our staff. And it gave us, some new life. We were very tired. We used to have a Sinister Circus every year. We would have to build the tent. We had to build a sprinkler system. We had to build all the walls, all the props, commercial electric, get it inspected by all these different agencies just to make it as good as it was last year. So we could never really make any good changes that we felt like were worth it moving forward. So the circus got really tired, and one of the best changes we did was we built a brand new building that we now have as Slaughterhouse, which was awesome. But we did have a blunder, and I'll say an absolute blunder, where I had a vision and I had a hard time communicating that vision to our staff. And some of that was during this Frostbite and Inferno period, where we had a vision to where during the hayride, we were going to have our main signature character, Frostbite, kind of take over the hayride. And then we created kind of a heel, which was Inferno. So we kind of had these two brothers duking it out, and they were using forces that were in the hayride. It was a really cool concept on paper, but when it came to executing it, we just had a hard time communicating that vision, and we gave a little bit too much creative leash to too many different people, and it really turned out as a muddy mess, and our customers absolutely destroyed us for it. So that was a lesson in execution. I think the idea was there, the concept was there, and it had so much potential, but the execution of it was so bad, we just immediately had to cut bait and walk away.
Right.
And I think that hurt us for several years. It was that bad. So sometimes you just got to lick your wounds and you got to move forward. You got to go back to your roots to what truly works. And I think that sometimes as creatives, we get a little bit too stuck on our own ideas. And sometimes we just have to resort back to industry tried and true concepts that work. And I think I allowed the creative vision to drift too far away from that, and our customers weren't happy with the product, and it cost the bottom line for a few years. Lesson learned for sure.
One of the other, besides scare actors, another huge part of these attractions are set design and show scenes.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to immersing the audience in a scary atmosphere. How do you create these detail set pieces, and what is involved in the concept creation with these from, I guess, the concept to the completion?
So what we look at is, first, what are we inspired by? Next is, what do we know we can execute? What are our strengths? And last is, what are we going to do that's different and outside the box each time we create something new? So we just try to make these environments that are unique and different and something that we've never done or other people haven't seen before. But one of my favorite things that we did this year was a napkin drawing. And it turned from a napkin drawing into this huge prop ship that we have in the middle of our hayride that you drive right through the hall. and it just came to life from a napkin into a like masterpiece. So that was really cool this year. And we're just going to see that kind of expound over time. So we're always ready to create, but we just look at, we want to make sure that we're creating memories for our customers. And I think that's really what the core is that we're creating a memory, whether it's funny, whether it's scary, whether it's just entertaining or just a wow moment. We try to create all of those. And if you ask 30 people on the way out, they're going to tell you probably 50 individual memories that were made tonight, whether it was with an actor or whether it was in a scene. And that's my favorite part of creating this haunt.
Now, Legends of the Fog is a seasonal attraction.
Yep.
So let's say season's done.
Yep.
What's the process to prepare for next year?
So I would say put everything away, take a little break, and then we meet with the managers, mostly Zoom, do a big manager dinner, like let everybody know. And we already have our big picture plans for next year, like 10,000 foot view. This is the direction for next year. Then we whittle it down to the details, and then we kind of leave our managers with questions, and they, so everybody kind of goes away for the month of December through the new year. And then once we get to January 1st, we start planning, we start discussions, whether it be at the bar or, like just hanging out around the house or even Zoom meetings. And then we go to our industry trade show in March, and we have a plan for the rest of the year. And then our production manager, Skip, will lay out the entire build season from pretty much as soon as it gets warm all the way through August. And then that's our only window of time to actually create. And then from August 1st on, in a typical year, that's all setup, execution, and perfection. So there's no brilliant ideas that can be pitched after the 4th of July. All small ball stuff after that, but really it's all about executing and making sure that everything that we have works and is in place.
You are owners with your father. So
Yep.
It's your father, you,
Yep.
your wife is staff manager,
Yes.
and you have 3 of your 4 kids currently working at the at the haunt.
Yes.
So
And my mom runs the box
and
office.
your mom runs the box office. So this is would you consider this a family endeavor?
100%, yeah.
Okay, now tell me, how does that influence your choices, and how do you perceive Legends of the Fog when it comes to a family business?
So what's really interesting about that is that, it did start as a family business. And so it started with our sod farm, and I'm 3rd generation, and now my kids will be 4th. And when this started, it was the opportunity for my dad to get my feet wet in business and for me to do something seasonal that I wasn't necessarily meddling with his business that was already successful. He had me working it in some small ways, with a college education. We did some things like that. So we started it as a family business, and this was kind of like him to allow me to get my feet wet in something that he didn't really perceive as a big risk. So he allowed Robin and myself to kind of come up with the creative. He wanted input, and he got a lot of input. But in general, he kind of gave us a lot of leash to do our own thing. So it was great because we would all work together, but it was business at the dinner table, business at everything. So, over the years, it's just all evolved to where we all kind of have our own locus of control. We all support each other. And even when we don't all agree, we have to still work together as a family. So it's just really interesting in how it's evolved from mom and pop shop feel to now it's very well organized. But even though we are family, we all have to hold each other accountable. It gets a little bit trickier with the younger guys because I have a now 11-year-old who we disguise and put him in parts of the haunt that he can kind of disappear into. And he only works limited hours. He gets limited windows, and we get him out of there before some of the rougher crowds. And then our 8-year-old just really, really wanted to do this. And we're like, no, there's no way. And then one day we just happened to find an exact fit dress. And she's like, the cemetery girls were like, yeah, can we take her tonight? And they made her a creepy kid, and it worked in the cemetery in its context. But I'm like, well, this is against everything that I wanted because I don't want kids. I want this to be a professional polished attraction. But at the same time, there's that whole family edge of, all right, well, this is our business. They can be here on a limited basis. And, we're going to make this work, and we're going to let them dabble their feet in. it's really fun to be able to do this, and I guess at the end of the day, like I can't be happier that I get to spend all this quality time with my family, and like we all support and love this business the same. We just all have our own roles and we stay in our lanes, and that's I think why we're so successful. That was a really long answer.
No, it's all good. No, that was a good answer. Now, do any of your kids show any signs of, oh, this is kind of what I want to do in the future, or any like potential in moving up in the business?
So yes, but the long-winded answer is that all of my kids are required to pursue another career.
Smart.
And so my oldest, Colin, is really into the fire department thing. He's now a cadet. He's not able to do Fire 1 yet, but he will soon. But it's like, hey, bud, you can do this. You can get a career. You can have retirement. You can have pension, benefits. You can have an early retirement if you want. And you can work a job that will allow you to build stuff at the haunt, work in the haunt, and then also have a career and make great money. So that's been our stance, and that's how we're going to handle it for a while. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, they are young.
Yeah. Now, it's funny you bring all that up. Having another source of income while also working at the haunt is something that is promoted. Now, what would you say to somebody who wants to start a haunt of some sort? Because I know, at least in this area, the Maryland, Pennsylvania area, a lot of the haunts come from people who own land or own a farm, and this is just a seasonal way to make, either extra money or to fulfill a passion. What would you say to those who would want to start basically following kind of your footsteps and opening a haunt?
So from our perspective, and kind of what I just said about the kids being in the fire department, it's the same thing with this business. This was a supplement to our main business. The haunted house was a seasonal support. My goal was to be able to get paid through the winter, because typically we would lay the entire staff off for 4 months a year. So that was one of my first motivations. Like, hey, we could do this haunt thing and then we can make money year round. So that was one thing. And then two was, as a supplement, this business was able to not make any money. In fact, we lost money for years. But we had a common dream. We were able to support it. And, we grew this business as a side hustle. And now it's the main hustle for a lot of our guys. So I'm not even full-time out here. I run the sod farm, so I'm the general manager of the sod farm. And it's probably going to be another 10 or 15 years before I can, quote, retire and come out and be a full-time haunter. So that's one of the things that I look at. So some of the other most successful people that I know that really worked from the ground up, started a haunt and everything, they have side hustles. They have other income streams to where if you don't have to put your own personal income on top of your business, then you can allow it to grow so much faster. And there's a lot of other schools of thought behind that, but if you're able to control those expenses, you're able to grow. So to get back to your question of advice for people to start a haunt, it's just really create something that you can control without putting everything on the line. Do not mortgage your house or put a second mortgage on your house to start a haunt.
Right.
You got to have cash, you got to be liquid, you got to have a team, and you have to be able to put something together as a passion project, and you got to have enough cash. Cash on hand. Do not borrow money to start a haunt, because that could be the worst possible decision you ever made, and then you don't get to play again. One of my dad's good friends, very successful business person in the county, a patriarch of local business, and he said to my dad, he says, Mike, you only get one grand opening. You can't screw it up. So make sure that you're ready. Make sure that all the press know, all the right people know. Get out and make sure that everyone knows that you're doing something big, and when they come out on your first night, it has to be massive. You have to put on a fantastic show. You can't limp into opening day. I know that's a lot to pack into one question, but it just comes back to the hustle and the excellence of it. And you got to, and a haunt is a passion thing, and you just have to put so much passion behind it, but don't mortgage your house for it.
I will say, I think that's one of the more real answers that I think I would ever get on this question. Because most people would be like, follow your dreams, try your hardest, but that's a great answer.
Yes.
So I think it's very wise.
And one of the things that I'm even learning now that I'm in my 40s is that passion is no excuse for not balancing your checkbook. And no matter how passionate you are about a purchase and how much you think that is going to benefit you, if you don't have the cash to buy something, or if you don't have like a rock solid plan and you're just willy-nilly buying stuff, you're going to crumble pretty quick. And that's another hard lesson that we had to learn, and kind of betting on what might be, and being a dreamer. And dreamer will get you in trouble.
No, that's it's funny because that's good. It's also like not the most uplifting thing, but it is. It's good. It's realism. And once again, this is a great perspective, because I feel like most people who do want to open a haunt or be part of a haunt are just thinking purely from a creative standpoint.
Yeah.
Which I get, because it's fun.
Yes.
But no, this is a great perspective to throw out there.
Yes.
Real quick, favorite thing about owning a haunt and least favorite thing about owning a haunt?
So I would say my favorite thing about owning a haunt is being present. People don't know my position for the most part. Every once in a while, a few people know what I do here, but I like to be in our midway, and I like to watch people interact, and I like to watch the machine work. I like to walk around and watch the cameras in the houses. I like to just watch all of these things that we work all year for to work either the way we planned them, or I get to learn something. And I learn something new every night that we operate this, and it gets cataloged. And I love that. Like, I love learning new things and so on. So we're always learning about running our business. And I love that, especially while we're open. One little experience I had was I used to sit out by the exit, and I would listen to what people would say candidly and honestly to their own group once they left. Mm-hmm. And there were some years that I was getting roasted at the exit, or Legends was getting roasted at the exit. Yeah. And I remember people walking out and like just making fun of all the things. And I used to take it personally. And then I turned it around and I'm like, all right, well, I'm learning everything that I need to do next year. And I'm learning it right here, and I'm getting it for free. So I love watching it now that we've really polished everything, and listening to people leave. I kind of go back to that memories thing. Listening to them talk about their favorite memories from the last 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of my favorite part. Least favorite part for me, and I hate it because I'm somewhat non-confrontational. Mm-hmm. I am when I need to be, but I just don't like having to deliver bad news. And I would say in the last 3 years, I've had to fire a lot of people, and I hate that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely the least favorite part is having to let people go or deliver bad news. And back to the purse strings thing again, being a creative and responsible for money, that sucks.
Now let's move to today, current day here in Legends of the Fog.
Yep.
What are some cool new things that people can expect for this season if they are returning, or if they're even coming in for the first time?
I think that the first scene in our hayride is absolutely amazing. I think it sets the tone, and it just really draws you in. And I can give this away a little bit, but we worked for a good portion of the summer, a couple of us working on this pumpkin scene. We built this like really awesome like pumpkin ambience theme. It like puts you right in the fall like mood, and there's hundreds of pumpkins that are carved, and they're all wired together, and they're all in sync, and they do exactly what we want them to do, and I've never seen anything like it. So I think that's really awesome. There's a couple other things in the hayride that are definitely new. The pyrotechnics that we're working with now. One of our former house managers and another good friend of the Fogs who's no longer with us, like they had this like vendetta that they were going to go and get their pyrotechnics license. So Sarah, she's a middle school science teacher, and she was like, hey, I really want to pursue this pyrotechnics thing. So she's been working on that for 3 years now. She got her license. In Maryland, it's incredibly difficult to get, so it's like a close proximity license thing. and she actually has a setup now to where we're doing propane pyrotechnics. And the school bus in the junkyard, like even tonight, she was like, hey, come check this thing out. Yeah. And she set it up to where the fire like rolled down the roof of the bus, and then like 2 flame balls popped out of the emergency exits in the roof. So that's really cool. Like, I love that we're doing pyro every day of our season now. So that's really exciting too. The best thing about the haunt is that there is something for everyone. Yeah. The hayride's a big show. You can snuggle up with your family, like the littlest guys, like the 8-year-olds that are kind of ready to dip their toe in. They could do the hayride because you can hide and like get a mouthful of Mitchum, from your dad in the armpit, but the walkthroughs, it's like it just levels up every step of the way that you go. And Slaughterhouse is like, there's no faint of heart for that. So that's really awesome. But each attraction, even though we do have a lot of the same scenes, the actors make it their own. The actors really spend a lot of time like creating those characters and changing things up all the time. So even if you came and some of the rooms are the same as they were last year, in design, the actors are always making changes and making it better. So you'll never see the same show twice.
Now, without giving any spoilers or anything, what can we look forward to next year? Is there some big things on the horizon?
So next year being the 19th season, there's some additional add-on pieces that we're looking into. We're still getting a gauge on a couple of things from our customers to see what kind of experience they're missing here. After that, I think, everybody's like building their little creative ideas and putting everything. And as soon as we get to the end of our season, we're going to start putting pen to paper and taking all these little fireside discussions and turning it and materializing it into plans for next season. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, fantastic. That sounds exciting. I think I could confidently say that our typical listener of our podcast are people who enjoy going to theme parks and themed attractions and would love to basically be you. Start one, have more or less creative control over it, run it, and then even better yet, with your whole family involved. So this is a great pleasure to be able to pick your brain a little bit in this interview. And thank you so much for opening the doors for us.
Yeah, so we really appreciate kind of diving into this, and it's even helpful to just explore my own thoughts and unpack all this.
Sure.
So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Awesome. And check us out at legendsofthefog.com.
There you go.
And we're open all the way through the first week of November. And, if not, come back and see us next year and 2025 and beyond.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun talking to Patrick. What'd you guys think?
I love being able to hear kind of how things start and how they develop over time. Because, if you think about starting something like this, it's like, okay, once you get something going and doing, like, how can you improve it? How can you develop it? And all the different ideas and kind of trial and error that the teams that put these kinds of things on have to do is really, really cool. It's super exciting. Makes me want to do it.
It is exciting. It's like inspiring, I guess you could say, to see, something small, like you said, grow into something big. Because the theme parks are cool, but not everyone can go to theme parks all the time, So it's cool to have like quality offerings that anyone can really go to in the area, and get the money's worth, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love getting a peek behind the curtain of, how things are run. So I really enjoyed this interview and getting the time to talk with Patrick. And we will, or at least I will, be going back there next year. So that was this week's episode of Park Goers Go.
Park Goers Go to themed attractions. Oh.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in learning more about Legends of the Fog or interested in going, visit their website at www.legendsofthefog.com or visit their Instagram or social media at Legends of the Fog. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. This has been Park Goers, and see you at the parks.
In the fog.
In the fog. We'll see you in the fog.